In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about Fritz Heider's balance theory, which your book talks about on page 85 in chapter 3. Now, your book gives a nice long extended example of the balance theory, but I wanted to go into it, do a quick overview, and then give a lot more examples, because this is a theory that the more times you've seen it applied, the easier it is to understand it. So, some of the basics of this theory. First of all, the theory relies on the idea that relationships between any two elements are going to have a valence. So valence, if you've taken your chemistry classes, valence is another word for charge, so positive or negative. My relationship with my best friend is good. I like my best friend, so that is a positive relationship. It has a positive charge or a positive valence, is what we would say. Whereas, on the other hand, I can't stand my annoying roommate, so that relationship has a negative valence. Now, Heider's balance theory talks about what happens to a person when you have three elements, so three relationships between the three elements. The three elements that Heider's theory talks about are the person or receiver, that's the P in those triangles that are in the book and that you're going to see in the rest of this video. Generally, that's going to be you, but obviously you can use this theory to talk about other people's situations as well. Then there's the other person, that's the O. So let's say that the other person is your roommate. And then finally you have an issue, which is symbolized with an X on the balance theory triangle. So let's say this is the Walking Dead television program. Now, we're happy when all of the relationships are balanced, and balanced means that when you multiply out the signs of each of the relationships, it's going to come out to be positive, and that's something we're going to look at in the examples in a minute. But essentially the idea is that if I'm the person or receiver and then my annoying roommate is the other person, that's a negative relationship, right? So I love The Walking Dead. That's a positive relationship, so negative times positive is negative. Now I need another negative to balance that out. So I'm happy if my idiot roommate doesn't like The Walking Dead because, well, he's an idiot, he's obviously not going to like cool things. If my roommate does like The Walking Dead, then I'm in trouble because I shouldn't agree with stupid people. That's basically the idea of balance theory. Going through a couple of examples, so let's stick with The Walking Dead, and that's kind of the example I just gave. So in this case, I'm the person, my idiot roommate is the other, and we dislike each other. I like The Walking Dead, my roommate doesn't like The Walking Dead. As I said, this makes perfect sense because my roommate is a terrible human being and shouldn't agree with me about anything. If you look in the bottom right hand corner of the slide, you can see how we compute whether or not it's balanced. So you have the negative relationship between the person and the observer, times the positive relationship between the person and the issue times the negative relationship between the observer and the issue. Negative 1 times negative 1 comes out to be positive. So this is a balanced triangle. We're happy with this one. Another example of a balanced triangle, let's say that I've stopped talking to my annoying roommate and now I'm talking to my best friend who loves The Walking Dead. This makes perfect sense because, well, obviously I'm friends with people who have exceptional taste, so of course they would like The Walking Dead. So this one's pretty easy. We have a positive relationship between myself and my friend, a positive relationship between myself and the issue, and a positive relationship between my friend and the issue. Multiply all that together and you get a positive number. So again, this relationship is balanced. Slightly more serious examples. So this is often going to be used to talk about how people relate to things like politics or religion. So let's say that I don't like my roommate John. I'm very religious, so I'm the P, my roommate John is the other, the O, and then we're going to talk about religion, whatever religion you want to fill in this example with as our issue. So I don't like my roommate, I'm very religious and he isn't. And again, this is going to make sense to me because maybe part of the reason I don't like John is that we have very different values. Again, you can look at the equation, so negative relationship times positive relationship times negative relationship comes out to be a positive number. This one is balanced. I expect someone I don't like to disagree with me on that issue. However, then let's start getting into some of the imbalanced relationships. So now I do like John. I don't know, we made up or something like that. So John and I are friends now. You can see that on the left side of the relationship between the person and the other. I'm still religious and John still isn't religious. This is going to be an issue for me because I kind of expect my friends to have similar values to what I have. So if you look at the equation, if you multiply this out, the positive relationship between me and John times the positive relationship between me and politics, I guess is what we switched over to here, times a negative relationship between John and politics. So I really like this new senator, and John, my friend, really doesn't like this senator. This comes out to be a negative relationship. So this is imbalanced. So what do we do when we have an imbalanced relationship? Well, balance theory suggests that we have 4 options. So the first thing we can do is denial. Basically, I can just forget that John disagrees with me about politics. I can just not think about that. In my mind, John agrees with me. He can say whatever he wants, and it's never really going to register. In my head, John's a good guy, so he probably agrees with me about the senator. The second thing I can do is bolstering. So I can accept that my friend John doesn't like the senator that I like, but if I want to continue to like the senator, I might need to do something to strengthen that relationship. I'm going to need to do something to remind myself of all the reasons I like the senator. So that's going to hopefully counteract the fact that my friend doesn't like him. Your third option is to differentiate. So I can differentiate between John and politics. So I can basically just not think about John in relationship to politics. I like John, I like the senator, I forget that I try to convince myself that there just isn't a link between them. I don't think about them as being connected in any way. Your final option, and this is the most cognitively difficult option, is integration. So essentially what you're doing here is trying to find a way for your beliefs to work together. So maybe I would think about why I support the senator. Maybe I think that the senator has a great tax policy. And why is it that John doesn't like the senator? Well, maybe John thinks that the senator's foreign policy is a problem. So I could integrate those 2 beliefs and come out thinking that the senator has great tax policy but bad foreign policy. Essentially, come to a point where John and I basically agree. And so that would be considered integration. All right. This last slide, which looks nice and complicated, but this is in here to show you what all of the potential balance theory figures are. So if you look at the top row, this is when I'm friends with John. So let's say our issue in this case is a tax increase. So if you look at figures 1 and 2, I'm friends with John, so you can see a positive relationship there between the person and the other. And in both cases, I agree with John. Either we both like the tax increase in figure 1 or we both hate the tax increase in figure 2. Again, this makes perfect sense to me because John is my friend, and so I assume that we're going to agree on things. On the other hand, in figures 3 and 4, you can see I'm disagreeing with my friend. So in figure 3, I support this tax increase. I know that this is going to help the economy. Obviously, any smart person is going to support this tax increase. So it really upsets me that my friend John apparently is a complete idiot. Same thing in figure 4. I realize that this tax increase is a terrible idea and somehow my friend John supports it. That's a problem for me because I don't want to be friends with idiots. Whereas on the second row, you can see what happens when I don't like John. So this is John, the annoying roommate again. So in figures 5 and 6, I once again agree with John. These are imbalanced. So I'm not happy when I agree with my annoying roommate. I don't want to agree with him. He's an idiot. I don't want to think like an idiot. In figures 7 and 8, my roommate, the idiot, disagrees with me. That makes perfect sense. That supports everything I know about the world. Of course, John is going to support the stupid tax increase that I know is just utterly ridiculous. Or, of course, John is going to oppose the tax increase that's going to fix everything that's been wrong in this country for, 200 years or whatever you think we're going to fix with this. This makes perfect sense because I don't like John because he's an idiot. again, these are, if you stick with this slide, these are the potential outcomes of a balance theory. So once again, when you're trying to decide if the theory is, when you're trying to decide if a particular figure is balanced, you want to multiply each of the valences by each other. So in figure 1, you've got positive relationship, so a positively valenced relationship times a positively valenced relationship times a positively valenced relationship. So that comes out to be positive, and we're happy. Figure 2, you have 1 times -1 times -1. Again, we come out to a positive, we're very happy. You can go through each of these figures and do the math yourself and verify that I came up with the right balance and imbalance. Hopefully this helps clarify the theory a little bit, going through what each of the potential options are. Again, if you have any questions, please email me. I will say that this one is probably going to be on your exam. So go back through the book and make sure that you understand this one.